So today we're gonna go over the process of making a simple cutting board. Nothing too fancy. Maybe you wanna call it a charcuterie board, I don't know. But we're gonna go through how to make this. So let's get started. All right, so we gotta come over here to the table saw and we're gonna set up the fence. To 1.5 inches. And once our fence is set up, we will just turn the saw on and cut our 1.5 inch strips. So once we get our strips, we need 6 of them. And the way I do this project is I glue up 2 boards at once. So I'm going to start by measuring 2 boards worth of strip. I'm going to measure down to 26 inches. Make a mark. I'm going to use the square on the mark here. Turn it up. And then I'm going to go to the vise and cut that. And I will do that 6 different times for the different strips. All right, I'm over here at the vise. Gonna clamp my work in, making sure the line I want to cut is right here close to the vise. Gonna get my saw, saw down the line, and then I will do that 6 times. All right, so I got my 6 pieces, and what I'm gonna do with these is try to figure out a pattern I like. So I'm feeling kind of like maybe the racing stripe down the middle, whatever I want to do. But at this point, figure out your pattern, and then we're going to go over the clamps and glue this up. All right, so we're over here at the gluing station, and typically I glue 2 groups up at once, but for this lesson, I'm just going to glue up the one. I'm going to lay all of the wood out how I've decided to glue it. So I think we're going to go with this pattern here. Once I've decided my pattern's good, I'm just going to flip up all the ends I need to glue. Take my wood glue out. Just got to put 1 even bead down each block. Not too much, just enough. Here we go. Once the glue's on, I just flip them all in, like so. I'm gonna scoop the clamps together. And I will start to gently tighten the outer clamps. And when it's kind of pressed together, make sure all my ends are square. Like I said, when I get it kind of together, I'm going to take a clamp in the middle and I'm going to clamp this one down as well. And after I get all of them moderately tight, I can come in and put a good squeeze on all of them. And then I'll just put my name right here for when we get to the next step tomorrow, which we'll be using the planer. So this is the first steps of doing the cutting board project. So once our cutting boards are all glued up, we're going to take them over to the planer. And the planer is going to be loud, but basically what we do is we feed it in and then we adjust the knob. And we continue doing this until we've got both sides smooth and leveled. So I'm just going to speed through this, and then we're going to move over to the table saw and we're going to cut off the ends. All right, so now I got 2 flat and level sides. Just gonna go to the table saw. We're gonna chop off the ends. All right, over here at the table saw, I am just going to take the board on my crosscut sled and I'm gonna cut off the 2 ends. All right, so we've been making this cutting board so far as a group, where each person is going to get 1/2 of this longer board. If you were just making this by yourself, you could be essentially done with the table saw at this step, but we want to cut this in half. So now that we have a rectangular board, I'm just going to take a long piece of scrap wood here. I'm going to make an X in the middle, like so. And once you get that X in the middle, we can go and use a square, or I can just take my piece of wood here, make an approximation, and this will be approximately the middle of your board. So we can go to the table saw and we can cut this mark out. All right, back at the table saw, I'm just going to cut the cutting board in half. Right here, got my approximate center. Now I have 2 roughly equal sized pieces of wood. So at this point, the partnership would be over. You'd each go on your own separate way, and we would go over to the router to round the edges. Okay, so the last machine step we would use is we'd go to the router, and we've got a round over bit here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to feed the cutting board into the round over bit using the bushing as our guide. For doing this, we want to make sure that our hands are always staying behind this line, holding the board, and we always want to be feeding it from the left to the right. All right, this is going to be loud. I'm going to speed it up again. And then when we're done, that's essentially it for tools. Alright, so that rounds over our edges, and from here all we have to do is go and sand the whole board. We're going to sand it with 100 grit first, and then we're going to sand it with 220, and after that we can put our finish on. Alright, so once we're all planed and routed, we're going to sand this. I am going to start the sanding now, and then I'm just going to quick jump to the end, and after that we'll talk a little bit about finish and what to do for finish, and then we'll be done. So here I go. You'll have to use hand sandpaper because I don't have enough of these to go around, but if you're doing this at home, go for it. All right, so I got it all sanded, 120, 220. If you had to, you start at 80. And we got a pretty nice product here. And from here, we've got a couple options. Now, if you want, you can put this in water, soak it a little bit, and raise the grain, and then do another 220 sanding. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm just going to put a mineral oil beeswax blend on here. I make these at home. It is 4 parts mineral oil, 1 part beeswax, and you just double boil it. And all we're just going to do here is we're just going to rub it in and watch that grain pop out. So this will make it nice and food safe. And the only key thing I want to tell you while rubbing this in is once you do this, you'll have to recondition the board from time to time. And the thing you want to not do, and I get a student who does this probably once a year, you do not want to let anyone put it in the dishwasher. under any circumstances, because if you put this in the dishwasher, you're gonna come in with like 6 broken boards and a lot of tears. So that is my piece of advice. I'm just going to jump to the end where I finish, and then I will wish you a good day. All right, so finishing up here, got a very nice looking product. I hope you've enjoyed the process of making it. I certainly did. And it's a nice thing you can bring home and give your family. So that is a simple cutting board.